ये वही यूएन वाटर कॉन्फ्रेंस की जनरल असेंबली की प्लेस है और यहाँ हम देख सकते हैं कि इसी के पीछे से एक बड़ी नदी जो ईस्ट रिवर है यहाँ की, ये ईस्ट रिवर बहती है और आप देख सकते हैं कितनी साफ सफाई है यहाँ पर। आप देख रहे हो यहाँ से कुछ फेरीज भी आते जाते हैं। यहाँ आपको जूम करके दिखाते हैं, ये रही। इस तरह से यहाँ पर एक ब्रिज भी आप देख रहे हो, ये ईस्ट रिवर है यहाँ की। हाँ, ये रही बिल्डिंग जहाँ पूरा कॉन्फ्रेंस चल रहा है। कॉन्वर्सेशन यहाँ पर कॉन्फ्रेंस आए तो उन लोगों को क्या अलग महसूस हुआ या इस ऑब्जेक्टिव से आए थे तो हम कितना अचीव कर सोचिए कि day and night working on the deliberations, brainstorming, and working, which we did. I believe that it was very fruitful. I mean, we come up with a water pledge where we have tried to comprehensively bring in all the points that is required for the balance communication. Here we have tried to see that how economically balance can happen. Today, the word is to use the crisis. The crisis of economics, environmental health, GDP is also now very, very necessary that how we understand about the overdraft of the underground water and at the same time judiciously use and talk about the environment.
That impact, then it's no problem for the downstream.
Oh, very
So
good.
the system stays in balance.
So this is the science of
Yes,
water
yes.
with sense
Yes.
and with common sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right, right? Huh?
On a decision-making body related to water are reserved for women. However, not everybody agrees that this is the right tool for actually bringing women to the table. So I would like each speaker to actually express their views on whether the quota solution is actually the right tool or the best tool to promoting and advancing women's leadership and governance. Who would like to start?
Yeah, hi. So a quota policy in relation to water in India is quite mind-boggling in isolation, and that's primarily because developmental needs are quite competing. They are very complex, and differs. The needs vary from geography. So, but India in 1992 passed a landmark legislation mandating for 1/3 of representation of women in the Panchayati Raj institutions. Now, a panchayat is a local village council. It's a system of self-governance in India, and since this has been mandated, and we have close to about 20 states of the 28 states in India, which have over 50% representation in rural self-governing bodies. However, these leaders in these spaces, as we've seen many times, because of the work that I do at Drone and the kind of exposure we have with urban and rural local bodies, we noticed that many of the issues surrounding menstrual health, sexual and reproductive health, are issues that women, and especially these leaders at this level, are unable to make calls on. Let me give you a few examples to kind of throw more light on this. Right? So at the village level or a cluster of villages together, many times these presidents or these women leaders are, wives of erstwhile panchayat presidents, their daughters, their sisters, and they kind of continue in that legacy supported within that family institution itself. And because of that, the real power kind of rests primarily with the man who's holding power in that particular village. And by virtue of that, decision making is not something that funnels down to the women leaders. So this kind of really shows, even in the space of sexual health, reproductive health, and menstrual health. If I have to give a few more examples on menstrual health as to how this happens, at the village level, a lot of the initiatives that are taken are around very piecemeal and tangible initiatives of let's just distribute disposable pads. Right? Whereas if a woman who has the agency to decide for her constituents will think a lot more of focusing on informed choices rather than hoisting just a particular product to the community itself. A second example is in the way in which low-cost incinerators in India are kind of like sometimes procured at the community level or at the school level. These incinerators, that is a big problem altogether by itself. So without going into the disposal aspect of incinerators, if a woman leader were to design an incinerator, she would very well know that the way in which someone needs to manage the incinerator requires manual labor. And manual labor of dumping a bloody disposable bag down a chute involves some thinking, some design in the way in which a toilet or a wash facility needs to be constructed. Now, all of this is kind of like lost when men take decisions around constructing and designing on toilets. And the last point I'd like to make is procurement of low-cost disposable sanitary pads. With the Oscar documentary that became very famous called Period End of Sentence, it was brought out as a harbinger of change by bringing those low-cost pads to communities as a livelihood option for women to make these pads and sell them. But in reality, women leaders in the village know how difficult it is to market, distribute, and put together an organization to sustainably run in those senses. So, in essence, I guess I'd wrap by saying that only meaningful are and what I mean by meaningful is that something where women have a voice, have a thought about how they want to control their own bodies, and live with a level of dignity, freedom, leisure, and pleasure. So, yeah, that's it. toilet in my school.
These are everything that you know and you are aware of. And regarding the climate change, so far, what I have felt is that in the center is the GHG emissions for the climate change. That is a major factor, and the resulting is the rising temperature and the climate change impacts. And for this case, what we have been doing up till now is that we are trying to address the GHG emissions through energy management, climate resilient development, adaptation, and with other factors. But what I feel is that the main part we are missing here in our addressing the climate change impacts is the water management. So we need to work not in silos, but we need to work with the energy management as well as water management, and I think these two factors are the most crucial factors, including other factors from adaptation to climate resilient development, that we can move forward for addressing the climate change thing. Thank you. That was
Nepal issues, but also global issues, but working in Nepal. And they will be addressing various issues associated with water security. We start with Dr. Manohara Kharga, who is the country representative for IMI in Nepal. And she'll be starting with this nexus approach. It's the new challenge we are moving into. Understanding that water, as has been said by previous speakers also, linked between water, energy and food, and you cannot delink them. And the failure in the past has been working in silos. So Manohara, the floor is yours. 4 minutes, I'll warn you after 3 now.
Thank you, sir.
Within that then, how do we do research? How do we do research? Well, the key is that we need to make sure that our research is no longer off to the side. We have to take responsibility for aligning with others in this collective action approach. So aligning our research with policy actors, policy change, with private sector action, with inclusive development, so that we have common missions for working on this common good, that we come together around this common good of water. We need to do that alongside sets of transformative strategies relating, for example, to women's equality, to youth leadership, to finance, to integrating cultural and indigenous knowledge, which has been mentioned today. So what I would propose to this meeting is that with this mission-based approach, this mission-driven approach, it's a way of aligning different actors around collective action in ways that can enhance our effectiveness together on addressing the multitude of challenges that we've outlined today, but do so in really increasingly coherent ways in which applied research can be increasingly, I hope, effective in supporting exactly what you've been outlining, and so increasingly effective, I hope, as IMI, as others in the research community, increasingly effective in supporting the government of Nepal in its endeavors to transform its water security for the future. Thank you.
मेरो अंतर मन को पीड़ा को चित्कार हो अनि मलाई बुझिदिने सुनिदिने जानिदिने चिनिदिने आग्रह पनि हो म ओर्लन्छु वायुमण्डलबाट फुसफुस सिमसिम रिमझिम झमझम गर्दै म सुस्ताउँछु एकैछिन हिमालका टाकुरा पहाडका छाती पेशीका मैदान हरियाली फाँट अनि जर्जर नाङ्गा भूमिमा पनि थकाई मेटिएको छैन मेटिने पनि छैन मलाई हतार छ म निक्लिन्छु मेरो अविरल अनन्त यात्रा टप टप कल कल खल खल स्वा स्वा गर्दै मेरो पूर्व यात्राका पाइला गोडेटु सडक राजमार्ग पछ्याउँदै अनि भत्किएका बिग्रिएका मेटिएका बिर्सिएका र नयाँ बाटाहरू खोज्दै बनाउँदै निरन्तर अगाडि बढ्छु म हे मानव जाति म तिम्रो प्राण हुँ बैतरणी हुँ ऊर्जा हुँ शक्ति हुँ, सञ्जीवनी हुँ। म प्रकृति हुँ, मलाई पिउ, सेचन गर, सिँचाइ गर, उपयोग गर, उपभोग गर, मसँग खेल अनि मैमा रमाऊ। तर यो पनि हिक्का राख, म तिम्रो फोहोर फाल्ने रक्षान होइन। मेरो धैर्यता, सौम्यता, शान्तपन, निश्चलता, पारदर्शिता, सहनशीलता मेरो कमजोरी नठान। मेरो एक हुंकार, एक फड्को, एक बल, एक छाल, एक ज्वार भाटा, एक आवेग तिम्रो जीवनको पूर्ण विराम हुन सक्छ। तिम्रो धन, भौतिक विकास पलमै नामेट हुन सक्छ। त्यसैले मेरो आदिदेखि अनन्तसम्मको अविरल निरन्तर यात्रामा अवरोध नगर। मेरो यात्राका डोब, पाइला, गोरेटो, सडक नामेट पारेर मेरो चौडा छाती संकुचित नबनाऊ। मनन गर, विश्वास ल्याऊ अनि हिक्का राख। मलाई बचाऊ अनि मात्र आफू बाँच्न सक्छौ। त्यसैले फेरि एकचोटि भन्छु, सम्झाउँछु, यो मेरो आगमनको शङ्खनाद हो, मेरो अन्तर्मनको पीडाको चित्कार पनि हो। बिन्ती छ, मलाई सुनिदेऊ, मलाई बुझिदेऊ, मलाई जानिदेऊ, मलाई चिनिदेऊ अनि बाँच र बाँच्न देऊ। म निक्लिन्छु मेरो अविरल अनन्त यात्रामा। म निक्लिन्छु मेरो अविरल अनन्त यात्रामा।
And unintended water-based accidents by teaching swimming skills, but even maybe more importantly by educating people about water, not relative to swimming. So because the environment is changing and the climate is action is unfurling around us, all of us, whether we swim or we don't, need to understand water in a very different way.
So how do you educate? Like how do you educate? What kind of audience you educate?
So we have a school-based program. We have 3 of them for age pre-K through grades 2, then grade 3 through grade 7, and then grade 8 through 12. So we go into the schools, we teach teachers to actually teach the program in schools, and we also have a program for the parents as well.
Okay. Very nice. So, by means of this kind of programs that you are trying to convey the message of how to take care of water or how to judiciously use water?
How to be safe
How to be safe.
on or around it. So not so much the conservation of water, but water is so much more a part of our world and it will continue to be. So we need to be safe navigating through water, right? And that's why this education is so important, because it's not about swimming skills, which many people will never learn how to swim, because access is very difficult. But everybody can learn that different bodies of water behave differently. They have a different nature and different dangers. And then think of it around the year.
Thank you so much everyone for being
In
here.
our ice,
A bit of a technical
flooding,
glitch. We hope to be
and then
sorted,
now with
ready to
this
go very
extreme
soon.
weather,
Yeah.
As soon as the
it's
PowerPoint
really a
connects.
problem.
Very
we need
nice.
to understand
Today's
how to
topic
be safe.
Very
is
good. Thank you so much.
focused on blue economy.
And that access to WASH is essential for health, for education, gender equality and development. They emphasized that the rights of vulnerable people have to be respected and fulfilled, in particular women and girls, youth, indigenous people, people with disabilities, and refugees and the internally displaced. And it is so important that we include all of these voices when discussing water security. As speakers reinforced the central message that the WASH sector urgently needs better political leadership and government systems, as well as smart financing. Development partners and stakeholders expressed their readiness to collaborate with governments. And this includes reinforcing links with other sectors, most obviously health and education, and to ensure that solutions safeguard the natural environment. There were calls to dramatically increase funding, including climate finance, and to make the best use of these resources. We also heard calls to invest in people and institutions to ensure that we have a capable and motivated WASH sector workforce. And we recognize that data and evidence are critical to good decision making and accountability. And finally, there were calls to encourage and support innovation and experimentation. And as we take forward these recommendations, we should build upon what is already there and working well. For example, Sanitation and Water for All's unique accountability platform that enables stakeholders to come together to frame, present, and track commitments, as well as the Fair Water Footprints initiative that brings stakeholders together to improve water stewardship and ensure equity and sustainability, plus emerging coalitions for systems strengthening involving governments and their development partners. Now, whilst these and other initiatives will help drive forward the water action agenda well beyond this conference, we still need to go much further and ensure accountability for all in delivering a step change in performance. So I urge you, Secretary General, to heed the urgent call from civil society in their open letter for greater accountability, rigor, ambition in the outcomes of the United Nations 2023 Water Conference. If we're to make the most of this landmark opportunity and secure a more just, resilient, and sustainable water future, then we must all step up. And the UK stands ready to work with others to help take these commitments forward. Thank you so much.
And events, the election of the two presidents and other officers, and the programme of work. Chapter 2 will be finalised to reflect information on the statements made by all representatives speaking during the general debate. It will include also a summary of the statements made at the plenary meetings. Chapter 3 will be final. We've brought the world together around solving the water challenge and reinforcing international collaboration for this vital resource. And I thank all those who contributed their ideas to this conference and to the creation of the Water Action Agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, now is the time to act. Thank you.
I thank the Secretary General of the United Nations. With the dialogues.
It will include a summary of each of the dialogues. Chapter 4 will reflect information on the consideration of the report of the Credentials Committee. Chapter 5 will be finalised to reflect the summary of the discussions of the conference presented today. Chapters 6 and 7 will reflect the proceedings of this meeting in relation to the adoption of the report of the conference and the closure of the conference. A list of documents before the conference will be incorporated as an annex to the final report. Presidents, that concludes my introduction of the report. I have the honour of commending the draft report for consideration by the conference to seek the authorization of the conference to finalize the report after its closure with the support of the Secretariat. Thank you.
Indicate that the conference wishes to adopt the draft report and authorize the Rapporteur General to finalize this report in conformity with the practice of the United Nations. I hear no objection. It is so decided. The conference has thus concluded its consideration on agenda item 11.
अब आज समाप्ति हो गई यूएन कॉन्फ्रेंस की और छोटा सा ड्राफ्ट मेमोरेंडम बना के हम लोगों ने भी सबमिट किया है। और आप देख सकते हो किस तरह से यहाँ पर बंदूकधारियाँ भी होकर इस तरह से इतना बंदोबस्त है यहाँ पर।
Youth and also women.
Okay.
So I'm the regional coordinator of Water and Climate Network of Youth of.
Okay. I'm getting.
So we can live with happiness. You know, when I started the work 42 years before, so my all young people displaced. Nobody living in that area because no water. So if no water, no food. And mostly they sick with night blindness. That time I am a doctor, so I started the treatment. No courses of healing of nature, no courses of nourishment. My teacher is the illiterate person. He don't know the so many words in vocabulary. He have only 4 or 5 words in his vocabulary. So what is the way he complete my PhD in one day? He take me in a leather box and put in the well. Well is dry, 100 feet deep, and he show the fractures in the fractures related with aquifer. And where the green long tree with leaves, they are the vertical fractures. And where no tree just serves, there is the horizontal fractures. So, in one day he showed me 25 lines. My teacher, because the illiterate, so my teacher's validation is 25 places. Your university validation, hardly 2-3 professors or teacher, your thesis validated. But my illiterate Guruji showing 25 there. The structure of the infrastructure now very बहुत वजन हो गया है उसका और उसके वजन में धरती दब रही है और जब धरती दबती है तो हमारे शास्त्रों में लिखा है कि प्रलय होता है। त्यागी जी समझ में आ रहा है ना प्रलय?
So speak in English. Speak in English. You are speaking in Hindi.
Yes. कुछ बातें तो दिल से कहने दो, नहीं तो दिमाग लगाना पड़ता है। तो दोस्तों, यदि हम सचमुच अपना फ्यूचर अच्छा बनाना चाहते हैं, if we are really thinking about our better common future, so we can think common can think little love and respect. Not just humankind. This love and respect not only for human to human. This love and respect, who is creating us for that? The nature is creating us. So we can think about this nature. If we start loving with nature, so nature can give क्या हुआ इसको
ये कोलंबिया यूनिवर्सिटी का लाइब्रेरी है। आप देख सकते हो किस तरीके की अरेंजमेंट है। यहाँ पर साइंस एंड इंजीनियरिंग की लाइब्रेरी है। यहाँ पर सेकेंड इवेंट अभी हुआ है, साइड इवेंट। Columbia Student Unions. Columbia University campus.
We were lost.
So that is why Tyagi came, no? Then.
Experienced.
Okay.
So I was able to pull together a team that all really believes.
So only
in this
because
kind
you
of
were
stuff.
interested, so that's why you made it.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
so nice.
Exactly.
So without any professional education in that or anything,
Yeah.
just out of interest that you have made it. Very
Exactly.
nice. Very nice.
How
It's
long
very
did the
creative.
video make you take?
How much time you took to make it?
We filmed it in 2019 and we weren't done till 2020. Or no, 2022. So, but it wasn't contiguous that whole time. It was kind of like with the wrong editor. I had a couple of trial and error people that I worked with. Okay.
So how much time you took to research?
People, it was probably 6 months.
Yeah, but then research work?
Yeah, sure.
You must have done research for all these findings, no information.
Yeah.
Unless you compile it.
Within that 6 months, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had some other in the team to do the research work?
Yeah. Someone who helped write the story.
Okay.
He was the guy who edited it as well.
Who?
Raleigh Latham.
Okay,
is his
okay.
name, one
Okay.
of our team members.
Okay.
Was the COVID, like, did the pandemic hinder your progress in making the
No, and in fact, in the long run, it very much helped us because we planned to do one big long film that we would release at film festivals that would include many different stories. And then with all the film festivals going virtual, we thought, why even bother? And we ended up splitting it into several short films, which we're still releasing some of.
So you waited for this UN conference to release this, or how was it?
It's been released for almost a year now.
Okay.
Yeah. But because it's only in the community, we can keep applying to film festivals.
Okay.
Once it's on YouTube, they won't accept it anymore.
Acha,
But
okay.
because it's not publicly available, even though it's freely available, it's not. You have to actually join the community. So
Okay.
film festivals still accept it.
This is also part of CUNY? Oh, sorry, about Columbia?
Columbia, yeah.
What is that building?
Library.
Okay.
This is a low library, which is no longer a library, but like a
Okay.
place to host events.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, we're
Very big.
like in the city, and it doesn't really feel like we're in the skyscraper.
Very big university. All engineering, medical, everything in the same campus, or how is
Medical
it?
is on a different campus, like it's close by, but it's on a different campus.
Okay.
Engineering is here, yes.
Okay.
Law is also here.
Okay.
That building is the law building on your left.
Okay.
The last
Okay.
building.
Okay.
Yep. In the School of Public Health, which is on the edge. Okay. Except for Berkeley's like on the ground, right? Berkeley's on the ground, right?
You can actually go from here.
Okay.
Aren't those streets? Yeah. They put earth on top of it. Yeah. I think so. Are there buildings underneath us? Are there buildings underneath us? Because we're on the third or fourth floor, right?
No, so now we are on campus level.
Ground.
So Broadway, like the street over there, that's Broadway.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
we
now
are back on the ground.
Now we are back.
Okay.
So this is the entry. Actual entry is this.
Sorry.
Actual entry for the university is this one.
Actual entry, yeah, you can say this one. There's
Okay.
also there are multiple
Many.
entries
Okay, many
like
entries.
along the Broadway
Okay.
street as well. There are different
Okay.
entries. That's also